It feels really weird being back in City Skylines, but it also feels like coming home. It's been a little while since I've sat down to play this with absolutely no strings attached. It's not because there's a new DLC out, it's not because of anything, I just kind of want to sit down and play some City Skylines. So here we are. And I mean, I've got to say, this map is absolutely beautiful. It's incredible. I think this is just a snowfall map as well. I don't think this is one that I got off the workshop, and if it is, I'll link it in the video description, and you can completely ignore everything I've just said, other than the fact that it's just gorgeous. And so I mentioned no strings attached, and I mean that. We're just gonna play some City Skylines. We're gonna see what we can do, see what we can create, and we're gonna be doing that a little bit differently to the way I usually would do that. I'm gonna try and avoid, and I mean it this time, I'm gonna try and avoid making a proper battery. And there's two reasons that we're doing that. I guess two methods through which I'm going to do that. First things first, we have our starting area down here, and I think this is a decent little start. It's right by the river. It's got some trees back here, and I know for a fact there's some ore in this little space back here, and that we could totally set up forestry over by this train line that I absolutely adore. This right here, this old abandoned factory, is such a cool map detail. I absolutely adore this so much. I'm absolutely going to be keeping that and turning this into like a forestry area or something like that. But you know, that's something we'll do in a little bit. We got to go ahead and place some roads. And you might notice while I'm doing this that we are starting with $250,000. You might also notice the name of this region being Nerdström. I thought that was cool. That's it. That's all it was. I thought that was a cool name. I figured, you know, it's quite snowy. This might be sort of a Scandinavian kind of area. I don't know. I thought Nerdström was kind of a cool play on words, and honestly, most of my city names have nerd in there anyway. But talking about the $250,000, that's done with a mod right here, where I can apply for grant money. And I'm probably not going to use this mod beyond getting myself that $250,000, but I'm going to keep it enabled just in case, and if there does come a time where I'm thinking maybe we'll give ourselves some money, because this is no questions asked money, what I'll do is I will put it to a vote. Either there'll be a poll on the video that it happens in, or it'll go to Twitter, at ConflictNerd, by the way. Hello. You can vote on that. We'll decide at that point. I don't think I'm ever going to be in a situation where I just give myself money, so don't worry too much about that. Anyway, you might be wondering why I'm putting this road in here. That's because I want to go ahead and I want to bulldoze this entire section of highway interchange here. And I want to go ahead and turn that road into an avenue. And again, you might be thinking to yourself, hold on a minute, Buster, isn't that going to be a nightmare for traffic? And yeah, it is a little bit, but I have a solution. I do have a solution. First, I want to do this. I want to go 70 units that way. And then we're going to go in and we're going to just fix this so it's a little bit less chaotic for traffic. We'll turn off traffic lights. We're going to say traffic here gets priority. Traffic there is gonna give way, and traffic there is gonna give way. And similarly over here, traffic from this side is also gonna give way. And just to make sure that things don't get too chaotic, traffic coming from this side can enter that junction, and traffic coming from here, so this space, can enter that junction. Then the same on this side, traffic and traffic can both enter the junctions there. Just to make sure that things aren't getting a little out of hand there. All right, so that's kind of the plan. What I'm also thinking we can do is go ahead and say that this right here is going to be a right-hand turn lane only. You're going to go across to those two lanes, and you're going to go to those two lanes. And that seems pretty solid to me. Reason I want to do that is because I want to make sure that this guy is also only going in a straight line and a straight line. And then you are going to be left-hand turn only. You're going to go to those two lanes, and you're going to go to those two lanes. And again, the reason we're kind of doing this is, it's pretty simple. We're just not wanting any U-turning. That's kind of the whole goal here. So what we can also go ahead and do is say you go to, let's say those 3 lanes, and you can go to those 2, and then you can maybe go there, and you can maybe go there and there, and that should be fine. So That way, traffic's not going to be U-turning. It's not going to be doing anything silly, and that seems kind of fine by me. So we're not gonna be doing that for every single interchange. I'm not gonna just make you watch that for every little thing. But that's why I'm not too worried about this causing problems, because honestly, it's not gonna cause problems right now. We don't even have anyone living here. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. That's the point I'm making. Anyway, what I want to go ahead and do next is I want to come over, let's say 70 units, and let's go straight down to there, and let's go straight down to there, and then get rid of this guy. All right, so that's just not going to be there. I will go ahead and set up the same system at that little intersection down there at some point. I'm not really going to stress about it right now, because what I want to do is I want to start bringing roads across here, just like this, the entire way across, just back and forth. We can do a whole bunch of roads. And down at the bottom here, we're eventually going to do this slightly differently. The road I want at the bottom, which might not fit. Oh, that's interesting. Let's just make sure that your zoning is perfect, which it absolutely is. The road at the bottom, I was going to say was going to be this guy, and then it could go sort of straight across there, but we actually don't have the room, so we're just going to leave that space empty for the time being. And this is just going to be our start. That's all this is going to be. This is just going to be what we use to start getting people in here and to start making a little bit of money. We'll go ahead and extend this way as well. I actually have prop and tree energy on right now, so we're going to be seeing trees sticking through some of those roads. I can go ahead and fix that, though, in just a second. But this right here is just going to be a really simple means to just go ahead and get people in here, get traffic kind of moving around. We can eventually get ourselves some districts in here. And what I'm thinking I'm actually going to do is go 11 units off of here and go straight into the highway on this side as well. That way, oh, we're not doing that. That way, we have perfect zoning, and we have a multitude of entrances and exits for highway traffic. And I think that's going to be kind of important. So we'll kind of just leave this as is for the time being. I don't really want to go too much closer to the highway at the minute. Although I do want to go ahead and just, we'll just redo these roads, is what we'll do, just to get the trees off of them there. So let's bring you up to the end there. Let's bring you up to about there. And at this point, honestly, we can just go ahead and start doing some zoning and doing some buildings. So let me pause the game while I do this, just to get everything that we're going to need. Given how much space we have zoned, I'm inclined to say that we could go ahead and put 2 power plants in here, but I'm just going to do the 1 for the time being. And I'm thinking it can probably just go right about there, and that should be fine. We aren't really going to be doing much else in terms of power at the minute, so we're not going to stress too much there. What we can go ahead and do is we can do sewage, and we could do inland water treatment, and I'm kind of tempted to do that because I don't really want to pollute the river. I kind of just want to try and avoid doing that, so maybe that is what we'll do. Now, the Eco Inland Water Treatment Plant is an eco-friendly alternative to inland water treatment, which extends water services. This building processes and drains the wastewater back into the ground. The plant's surroundings will be affected by ground pollution. So, pollution is 45, noise pollution is 10 versus 110. Okay, let's use the eco one. I think that's probably a good shot. It's a little more expensive. Its capacity is only half of what the other one is, which is unfortunate, but I kind of want to use this. I kind of like the idea. So let's go ahead and put that maybe next to this guy. Do we want to do that? I think we can do that. Let's do it next to the power plant, and that'll probably be fine. So we'll throw it right there, and that's going to be our water treatment. In terms of getting water, I'm just going to use water towers. And I think, honestly, the easiest way to do that is going to be just running pipes around kind of everywhere. So let's bring some pipes out like, I wish I could get them to go in line on the avenue there, but I can't really do that. So we'll go to what I think is roughly the middle, which is up out there, and that seemed to be the middle. So we'll go there, and we'll go here. We can go right here. And we kind of need to get one across that avenue as well. All right, we can do that in just a second. Let me connect these guys together a little bit. And that looks like roughly the middle. So bring you across and then connect these guys together at the end as well. Take out the little bits of excess. And that seems fine. So let me get a midpoint here as well. That looks like roughly the middle. That'll do. Bring this straight down, straight across the highway. And we'll go there. Because what I can do is put a water tower in that spot and a water tower in that spot. And as long as they get power, that'll be everything sorted. So let's run some power lines down the side of everything here. I kind of want to go from this spot. So we'll bring this right down. We'll bring it over the highway. I am going to just get rid of that one because we don't really need it. But I want to bring it right down over the highway and to about there and just across. So just something nice and neat to give power to those guys. And then for you, you are going to be needing that connection right there. And that should be everything that we kind of need at this stage. So let's do what I always do. And let me go ahead and throw some industry in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up in this corner. So we'll go for something a little bit like that. We'll go ahead and do something a little bit like this. And it is, I said I wasn't going to do a battery. It's the layout of the battery, but it's technically not the same. All right. It's technically a little different. And this is all just going to be so we can get things unlocked so I can start expanding things. I have got a pattern in mind that I think will be really, really cool for this entire city, but I can't do it until we unlock some things and until we start building things. So it's going to be a process is what it's going to be. It's going to be a process, but it's totally going to be worth it. I promise. Okay. So we have that zoning in there. That I think will be a pretty good start. I will go ahead and do that as well, just to sort of fill that space up, but let's go ahead and run the simulation and let's get things building. Let's start seeing some people move in here. And while they're moving in, I guess I'll go ahead and set up the rest of these junctions. Hey, there we go. We are a little hamlet. We've got taxes and loans and garbage and healthcare. We've got education and campuses, and that's all pretty cool. We have the landfill site. We've got the snow dump, which sends out snow plows to clear streets of snow. When it has a full load of snow, it will return to the snow dump. Interesting. I forgot that that was a thing. We might want to look into that. We also unlocked some parking lots, which we're not going to stress too much about. But what I will go ahead and do is immediately into taxes and immediately up to 12% on all of those, just to get a little bit more money coming in. And I'm thinking we can also go ahead and throw in a medical clinic. And I'm going to go right about there with it, even though it's not going to have a power connection. It is nice and central. And that seems like it'd be quite important. And in terms of education, it's very tempting to do similar there as well. I'm very, very tempted to just throw an elementary school right into some of this space just to try and get that going a little bit sooner than later. Even though we might not be able to afford it up front, I think we're going to give that a shot and try and have education be a little bit of a focus. Now, in terms of garbage versus recycling, I'm very tempted to go for the recycling center. I do prefer to use it, and I think it would be a little bit more in line with this whole eco-friendly thing that I'm trying to do here. So let's give it a shot. We'll throw a recycling center in there. And then in terms of the, I'm going to be honest, this thing right here, the snow dump. I mean, it's only 32 per week, and it's 5,000 up front. So I guess we should throw a bit of a snow dump in here. Let's go ahead and throw it right next to the recycling center, but on the other road there. So that'll be totally fine, and that will send out snow plows to hopefully improve the roads a little bit. Which is a thing, isn't it? Yeah, road maintenance is 4,400 people. Okay, I do want to get those in there as well, but we have a little bit of demand. Let's go ahead and just extend the residential space that we have down to about there. We'll just double the size of what we have, and we'll bring the commercial down to about here as well, just doubling the size of that. And I guess we could probably go ahead and throw a little bit more industry in there as well. And thus far, everything's working. We only have 500 people, but thus far, you know, there's no major problems with people backing up onto the highways. So no complaints yet. which is probably for the best. That is definitely probably for the best. Now, I should probably explain what my idea is. My idea here is I want to try and get something that's going to be kind of a cool city. I do eventually want to have overpasses for the highway here, and I'm probably eventually going to redo this entire section of highway to extend this bit straight across, which honestly, I don't think we can do yet. We would need, 2,400 people. We don't have that. But I want to have this highway kind of running parallel to a lot of things, and then eventually I want to put another road down here. And I don't know, I want to try and avoid doing massive intersections and interchanges. I want to do more roundabouts, and honestly, well, we're a worthy village. That's nice. We got districts, which is going to be really important. We got emergency services. We got forestry and agricultural, which I might play around with for just a second. But the point I'm making is I want to try and do less big interchanges and way more small intersections like this. Because I think if we have enough of those and we play around with districts in just the right way, we might be able to do something cool here. So let's go ahead and just paint this right here as one district, just because we can. And I mean, you all know the rules on districts. A neat district is a happy district, so it's going to be following the roads, as it always does. And I always get questions about how you do this. The district's brush on PC snaps to roads. So I can just sort of, I mean, you can see it sort of snapping there. It just snaps to roads. And if you just kind of hold your mouse still when you're doing this, you can get a really nice, neat district like that. And the other thing that I always get as well is I need to be more careful when placing districts so as to not put them on highways. The policy that always comes up around is the Old Town policy, which is a policy that says vehicles may not enter this district unless they're going to a destination within this district. They may not go through this district to get to somewhere else. That does not apply to highways. So what I could do right now, I mean, I don't actually think I have the policy. I do not. But if I was to say that Mulberry Square there had an Old Town policy and I left that district on a highway, so for example, if it was like this, the Old Town policy would not affect that highway. It would, however, affect this main avenue, which is not something we want it to do. So for that reason, we take it off the avenue. And an Old Town policy will actually do absolutely nothing to Mulberry Square there, because there are no roads that can lead to another main road from that square. However, Cooper Park has a bunch of roads going straight through it, so an Old Town policy would force traffic to go around on the avenues rather than going straight through. Now, we are having some power problems. Let's go ahead and let's actually increase the budget for power nice and early on here. And I think we'll do the same for water. You know what? Let's do some early game budget increases across the board on everything, so that everything we're placing is going to have a higher capacity. It is going to lower my income, but it means that everything we're placing is going to have a higher capacity. So in theory, I'm going to need less of everything when we get to the later stages of the game. Obviously, that is going to mean less money coming in, but it does mean that we have more water production. We have more capacity in schools than we usually would. And I think that'll be pretty solid. So that's kind of what I'm thinking we'll do there. We'll put our money into things that people want, essentially, is the whole goal there. Now, we do have a little bit of demand for commercial, so let's go ahead and extend this down to here. And we have a bit of residential creeping in there as well, so we'll extend residential down to this space. And I am still seeing some power problems, which makes me think that, yeah, we're not actually generating enough. Let's go ahead and throw another power plant in here. We'll just throw it down in that space. And that should, double the power generation, which is perfect. That should keep everybody happy for a little while. And interestingly, it seems like the commercial zoning just filled up immediately there. So what I want to go ahead and do is bring it over to here. And I'm going to bring it around all of this residential zoning. So it's going to just hug the avenues like that. And then in the middle of everything is where the residences can go. And I guess while we have a little bit of demand, we'll fill up that space and we can fill up that space as well. This area over here, probably going to be more industry, but we're not really going to stress too much about it. What we should stress about is the crime. because that is a thing. That was a fire. That's the fire helmet I clicked on there. That's a thing as well. We'll probably want to deal with that in a second. Oh, okay. We've just got industry areas. We've got fishing industry. We've got parks and all that stuff. Did we get the old town policy? I'm not sure if we did. It's fine. It's not a big deal. We did get paths though that I'm very happy about. Very, very happy about getting paths. We got fences and parks. We've got ice sculptures. We've got all sorts of things in here. Okay, we'll play around with that in just a second. I do want to get a fire station in here. And I'm thinking what we can do with it is... That is a larger one, but that's... I'm pretty sure that's the European style house. Oh, my accent is a mess. We'll throw the smaller one in here. We'll go for... I wonder if I can put it behind... Oh, we can put it behind a power plant. That seems like a pretty good spot for it. So let's go ahead and throw a firehouse back there, which has given decent enough coverage to everything. And then for policing, they are little buildings as well. So let's go ahead and throw that in behind there. And that will mean that's, you know, it's not creating any weird spaces for zoning, which is kind of important. So that'll be pretty good. That'll be policing. That'll be fire, kind of nicely covered. Although, obviously... I mean, if traffic starts getting bad, it'll be less than good, but traffic right now is fine. We're not going to stress too much about traffic. It's not a problem at all. Let's see, though. There we go. So the police have arrived. They're dealing with the issues there. That's good. That's what we want to be seeing. So I guess we kind of just wait for everything to build up a little bit. And while we're doing that, I want to go around and I want to start playing with this idea that I had. And the idea that I had is it's a fairly simple one. Do we have highways yet? No, it's 2,400 people. Okay. So the idea that I had is I want to go from... Oh, I really don't know if this is going to work with the way I've done a lot of this. No, I don't know if this is going to... Okay, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. I want to go 10 units from this intersection, which is snapping really weirdly. I'm not sure what's going on there. I want to go 10 units from there. And I want to go 10 to there. And I want to do... I don't know why this is snapping. Oh, there's why. So we want toggle node snapping to be on. We want road anarchy on as well. We want this, right? And that right there is 14. So let's go 36. So from there to there should be 50 units, which is exactly what we want. And then the way I want to go ahead and do this is 10 and like this. We want to go 10 and like this. And we want to go, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want to go 1, 2, that's 3, that's 4, and that's 5. All right, so now that we've done that, we bring this road out and we run you down to intersect there. We bring this road out and we run you down to intersect there. We bring this one out a little bit and we bring it down like that. We bring this guy out a little bit and bring it down like that. And this guy might be a little bit of a squeeze, but I think we can do it. We totally can, even though it's a little bit close to the highway. But that's kind of what I want to do. And then what I want to do is I want to go in and take out this section of avenue completely. And I want to go and put it in here. So that what we've now got is these roads are all parallel. These roads are all parallel to each other. And then if I go ahead and do another angle, which I can totally do, and we're going to do this really quick just to sort of demonstrate what I want to do here. If I go ahead and do this, right? So that road there is 14. Let's just go 24 on this because it'll demonstrate. If I go ahead and be really cheeky for a second here, what we end up with is a bunch of different sets of parallel roads. So these roads here are all parallel to each other. The avenues are parallel to each other, and these guys here are all parallel to each other. And it is a grid, but it's sort of a bunch of different grids all playing with each other, and I think it looks kind of cool. So that is what I want to do. I also want to go ahead and just take out this zoning for a second because I want to extend this guy And I did not want to open Chirpy there. So we'll extend this guy just a little bit, bring this over to intersect. And I think that looks kind of cool. I really do. I think that looks awesome. So that's what I want to do. And hopefully that makes sense. That's why I wanted to start with more money than we'd usually have. And I really do think this is just going to look kind of interesting and kind of cool. That's the whole point. That's the entire idea behind this, is just to make something that looks a bit weird, that looks a bit interesting. And I mean, we get this nice sort of avenue running along the back of everything as well. And if I change the highway, we can get an avenue running down here as well. And that's kind of the whole point. It gives us a bunch of avenue connections for the highway. And I think that's going to be the ticket to making my idea work. My idea being, of course, that we have a bunch of different connections to the highway rather than just one big interchange that flows nicely. So obviously traffic is going to stop. And obviously traffic is going to, I don't think traffic from there should flow. Obviously traffic's going to stop, and it's going to have intersections, and it's going to have traffic lights, and it's going to have all sorts of things going on. But I think this will be kind of cool. I'm also thinking that you can probably give way, and traffic going through there can be, you know, doing whatever. But over here, similar story, you know, you give way and you give way, I guess. I don't remember what way I did that. Yeah. But that, I think it'll be cool. I really do. I'm excited to see if this actually happens to work long term. And I know what you're thinking. You're going to be thinking, well, it's not going to work. Traffic is going to back up, and it will. But if it eventually flows and eventually gets to where I want it to go, then I'm kind of okay with that. It's not the end of the world if traffic ends up having some issues, right? It's not a huge deal. It's a big deal. But it's not going to be the end of the world if traffic does have a little bit of trouble here and there. So I think we can manage. And I mean, if you've seen me play City Skylines before, you're going to know full well that I want things to look cool more than I want them to be functional. And, you know, sometimes you end up in a situation where things look both cool and are, in fact, functional. But that is a rare moment for me in this game. And, yeah, it's weird considering how much I've played this game. You would expect me to maybe have an idea of what I'm doing, but a lot of the time I'm just winging it. And that's kind of the whole point of this series, is just to wing it, do some cool stuff, see what kind of trouble we can get into, see if we can fix the problems that come up from whatever trouble I do happen to get into. And if I can't fix the problems, then at least, you know, we'll give it a shot. And we'll see what ends up happening. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll go ahead and bring you down to there. And then that whole new area has water. And we can go ahead and start filling things up. So take this guy out of there. Let's go ahead and start filling up the rest of these areas here. Oh, that zoning is not right. Hello. Why was it doing that? Let's bring you over. That's the way we want it to be. Fill up those spaces, and then these guys just in here can all just be commercial. So still, along the avenues, we've got commercial, but everything else is residential. And that seems pretty solid. Obviously going to need to slightly change the districts, but that's fine. We can totally do that. And then we're kind of good. I'm excited for this idea, man. I really am. I'm just curious to see how it goes, and it's a really weird pattern. It really is. It starts messing with your head a little bit once you get all the different, like, parallel roads going, because you got all these different angles to play with and keep in mind. But I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how it goes. I'm excited to see if we can make it work. And I'm excited to get the population growing, get the money coming in, get a bit more industry over here, because that's something that the people are wanting right now. I'm excited to get this going. I really, really am. I'm also thinking that what I want to do is I want to get a forestry industry over here a little bit sooner than later. So that is totally a thing we're going to do. We're going to throw some forestry in there and see if we can make some money off of that, and see if we can get some of the specialized industries going a little bit sooner than later. We also have fishing. So that is totally something we could do. We could get some salmon in the rivers, which is kind of cool. I like that. We've got anchovies way out here. And we don't have much in the way of shellfish, I don't think. In fact, I don't think we have any shellfish. We have a little bit of tuna up there. But I guess salmon is fine, or salmon if you prefer. And then a little bit of anchovies in there. Yeah, we can have some fun doing some fishing on these rivers. I think that's something we can look into as well. But yeah, I'd like to do industry in that particular way. I'd like to do fishing. I'd like to do forestry. I'd like to do agriculture. I don't know if ore and oil are things I'm going to look into too much, but we will see. We will see what happens. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, City Skylines, it's back. It's not going to be daily, but it's back. It's going to be a couple of episodes this week, and then if everything goes to plan next week, there'll be more episodes than there are this week. We're going to be wrapping up some of the series that have been going on here on the channel. We did just wrap up Stonehearth. Prison Architect might be coming to an end fairly soon, and Airport CEO probably coming to an end fairly soon as well. So we're going to be running a lot of City Skylines. We're going to be running Satisfactory, which is going to be done on live streams, then pushed to this channel at a later date. And I'm still looking at Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. I want to play that. So keep an eye out for that. We got another episode of City Skylines later this week, but right now, that's going to do us for today. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, do leave a like on it. If you've got any ideas for what you'd like to see me build in this series, do feel free to throw it down in the comment section below. I would love to hear it. But with that in mind, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.